If your kitchen contains these 5 things, then no matter how hard you work, money will be very hard to keep, and your family will eventually fall into a state of tension and distance without you even understanding why. Hello, I am Master Zhen. In both everyday Feng Shui and Buddhist teachings, the kitchen is not just a place for cooking. It is the place that holds the fire of survival, the source that nurtures our emotions, and the harmony of the family. When the energy of the kitchen becomes imbalanced, it is very easy for people in the home to become short-tempered, for conversations to grow heavier, for financial decisions to become impulsive, and for money to gradually slip away in quiet, unnoticed ways. What is worth noting is that these causes do not come from something distant or mystical. They come from very familiar items that are placed right in the kitchen, things that we use every day, that we see every day, so hardly anyone suspects that they could be the reason. Money does not stay, meals lose their warmth, and the bonds within the family begin to fade. In today's video, I will reveal to you 5 specific items in the kitchen that, if placed or used incorrectly, will silently disrupt your financial luck and break down the peace in your home. As you listen, you do not need to believe right away. Just slow down for a moment and take a look around your own kitchen to see if you might be holding on to any of these things. Before we begin, go ahead and write a positive affirmation in the comments to open the door for peaceful energy to enter your home. Something like, "I choose to keep my kitchen in harmony so that wealth and peace stay with my family for a long time." And if you feel that these insights bring a gentle awakening to your life, please subscribe to Master Zhen, Feng Shui Secrets for Wealth, so you can continue this journey with me and discover more Feng Shui wisdom to protect your blessings, attract prosperity, and pass on a peaceful legacy to future generations. So, what are those things, and why can they affect your finances and the peace of your entire household? Right after this, I will reveal to you the specific items that should not be present in the kitchen, or, if they are, they need to be properly repositioned, so that good energy does not continue to quietly slip away. First, the broom. In everyday Feng Shui, every household object carries a specific energetic function, not just because of its shape, but also because of how it is used repeatedly over time. A broom is designed for one single purpose: to sweep, gather, and remove things that are no longer needed. That is why it always carries a pushing away kind of energy, the kind that disperses rather than holds or nurtures. The kitchen, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It is the place where fire is preserved, where food is transformed into life-giving energy, and where financial luck is nourished slowly but steadily. When something like a broom, which is meant to eliminate, is placed in this space, 2 opposing energy streams begin to coexist. This contradiction makes the energy in the kitchen unstable. As a result, wealth energy cannot stay for long, no matter how tidy or clean the space may look on the outside. From an energy perspective, the broom also comes into direct contact with dust, trash, and the heavy, stagnant air inside the home. If it is kept in the kitchen, especially if left out in the open, the energy that builds up in the broom will flow back into the cooking space. This reduces the purity of a place that needs balance and stability to nourish both the body and the spirit. Another important point that often gets overlooked is the long-term impact on the subconscious mind. Objects that are frequently seen will quietly influence the internal state of those who see them. When a broom is present in the kitchen, the mind constantly receives the message of discarding and elimination. But the kitchen should send a message of storing, preserving, and caring. Over time, this energetic mismatch can affect how people think about keeping wealth, protecting blessings, and maintaining harmony within the family. As a general rule, a broom should not be placed in the cooking area. If your living conditions require the broom to be kept near the kitchen, there must be a clear separation. The bristle end of the broom should be covered when not in use, and it should face away from the stove or any area where food is stored. This arrangement creates a distinct energy boundary. What needs to be removed faces outward, while the kitchen space is reserved for elements that nourish and accumulate. Second, the washing machine. In terms of Feng Shui, a washing machine is considered a very strong water element due to its constant use of water, combined with its spinning motion and repeated draining function. Unlike typical appliances that use water, the washing machine generates a dynamic, damp, and downward pulling type of energy. When this appliance is placed in the kitchen, an energetic conflict begins to form silently but persistently. From a living environment perspective, a washing machine increases the humidity in its surroundings. Moisture, dirt, and bacteria tend to build up over time, especially if the area lacks proper ventilation or separation. When humidity lingers, the atmosphere becomes heavy, making people feel uncomfortable or sluggish. Over time, this subtle decline in physical and mental well-being directly affects the overall fortune of the household. Looking at it energetically, the washing machine represents a cleansing process that involves draining. Dirty water is constantly flushed away, taking with it the energy of elimination and loss. When this energy is present in a space meant for stability and retention, it creates imbalance, making it difficult for financial luck to stay long-term. This does not happen all at once, but shows up gradually in the form of financial leakage, uncontrollable spending, and a general sense of instability in fortune. The best setup is to avoid placing the washing machine in the kitchen altogether. Ideally, it should be located on a balcony, in a laundry room, or in any space designed for drainage and water flow. If you absolutely must place a washing machine near the kitchen due to space limitations, there should be a clear divider, such as a curtain, a partition, or a cabinet cover. Creating this separation helps prevent direct interference between conflicting energy flows, which reduces the long-term negative effects. Third, mirrors. In Feng Shui, mirrors have a strong reflective property. Anything that appears in front of a mirror is instantly doubled in appearance and energy. Because of this, mirrors are only suitable in spaces that need to expand visual perception or adjust lighting. They are not appropriate in places that require stability and energy focus. When a mirror is placed in the kitchen, especially if it directly faces the stove or clearly reflects the cooking area, the energy becomes scattered. Instead of flowing in a steady direction, the energy bounces back and splits into multiple paths. This constant dispersal prevents the space from staying balanced over time, even if it looks bright and clean on the surface. A commonly overlooked effect of mirrors in the kitchen is their influence on mental states. Mirrors heighten awareness, triggering a sense of being watched and prompting quick responses. When this sensation is constantly present in a living area, it can cause heightened sensitivity, increased stress, and difficulty relaxing. Small mental imbalances, when experienced daily, eventually influence how people think, speak, and make decisions. From an energy standpoint, mirrors are active and do not retain. Any energy that passes by gets reflected rather than absorbed or accumulated. This weakens the space's long-term ability to hold stable energy, especially in matters that require consistency and resilience. When a space has too many reflective surfaces, focus becomes fragmented, leading to an unsteady feeling that is hard to explain. Keep in mind that it is not just hanging mirrors that create this effect. Any overly glossy surface, shiny glass, or high reflection metal in the kitchen can have similar impacts. When these surfaces reflect the stove or human movement, they unintentionally amplify energetic disruptions in the space. So, if you already have a mirror and cannot remove it, try to blur or cover it to reduce direct reflection. It is better to use materials that are more absorbing and grounding, such as wood, textured stone, or matte finishes. The goal of reducing reflections is not to darken the space, but to help energy flow deeper, more steadily, and with less disturbance. Fourth, the ancestral altar. In both Feng Shui and traditional Eastern spirituality, an ancestral altar is a space of stillness. It represents sacredness, reflection, and spiritual connection. This area needs to be peaceful, clean, and free from frequent changes to maintain a sense of balance and sanctuary for the living. When an altar is placed in the kitchen, two opposing energy states are forced to exist side by side, causing subtle disturbances that are not immediately visible. The kitchen is a constantly active place, filled with fire, heat, food smells, and daily activity. These elements create a strong, ever-changing dynamic energy. When an altar exists in such a space, the still energy it needs gets disrupted. This imbalance may not show through specific events, but instead through a lingering sense of restlessness, a lack of focus, and a spiritual discomfort within the family. Another issue lies in the need for cleanliness. A sacred space must remain separate to avoid the mix of smells, smoke, and polluted air. When an altar is located in the kitchen, cooking fumes, oil, and high temperatures interfere with the sanctity of the space. This is not about committing a spiritual offense, but rather a mismatch in energy environments and living conditions. Over time, placing an altar in the kitchen blurs the boundary between the spiritual and everyday life. When this line becomes unclear, people struggle to maintain clear distinctions between stillness and activity. This internal confusion can lead to subtle insecurity, affecting both mental stability and the invisible bonds that hold a family together. Fifth, the refrigerator. In applied Feng Shui, the refrigerator represents cold energy. It symbolizes cooling, preserving, and keeping food in a static state. Unlike many other household items, the refrigerator runs constantly, even when not being directly used, creating a steady and lasting field of cold energy in the surrounding space. When the refrigerator is placed too close to the stove, two opposing energy forces are constantly clashing. The heat from Zhen, cooking, and the cold from the fridge create continuous fluctuations, preventing the energy from stabilizing. While this conflict may not show up right away, over time, it weakens the home's energetic balance and leaves residents with a vague sense of discomfort that is hard to explain. Physically speaking, placing a refrigerator right next to the stove forces it to work harder to maintain a cold temperature. This not only shortens the appliance's lifespan, but also leads to constant energy consumption. In Feng Shui, repetitive energy drain often correlates with feelings of financial loss and instability, reflected in how money flows in and out on a daily basis. Additionally, the refrigerator is where food is stored. Its function is to hold and preserve. When placed in the wrong location, especially if directly facing or pressed up against a heat source, this storage function is weakened energetically. This can manifest as difficulty in holding on to things, whether that is food, money, or life achievements. Everything seems to come and go too quickly, without lasting presence. The best layout is to keep a clear distance between the refrigerator and the stove. This space helps reduce the direct collision between two opposing energy flows, allowing each appliance to function in its proper role. If there is no way to increase the distance, you can use neutral materials like wood or stone as a buffer. This helps regulate the interaction of energies and supports balance. Aside from the items that should not be in the kitchen, there are also some very common layout mistakes that many families make without realizing. Even a small misalignment in placement can disrupt the energy flow and lead to a slow decline in prosperity. Up next are some common kitchen design errors you should reconsider. First mistake, the stove facing the main entrance. In home layout, the main entrance is where outside energy enters the living space. When the stove is placed directly in phase, line with the front door, incoming energy flows straight into the kitchen without any guidance or redirection. This causes the energy to become rushed, unstable, and unable to spread evenly throughout the home. From an energetic point of view, the stove represents fire and heat. When incoming energy from the door immediately meets fire, there is an instant clash. The energy has no time to settle before being activated, then rapidly burns out. In Feng Shui, this is often interpreted as wealth entering only to be lost quickly, hard to hold on to for the long term. Over time, this layout creates a rhythm in the home that lacks the calm and steadiness needed. Financial and work-related decisions tend to be rushed and poorly thought out. Even when life seems normal on the surface, there may be a growing sense of instability and insecurity. The sense of loss does not come from major events, but from many small things accumulating over time. Also, when the stove sits directly in line with the main door, the living space becomes overly exposed. This lack of shielding reduces the sense of privacy and makes it harder for energy to settle. When energy cannot gather, it becomes difficult to maintain long-term fortune, especially in matters that require stability and gradual growth. The proper adjustment is to avoid having the stove directly aligned with the main entrance. If repositioning is not possible, use a screen, partition, or a low cabinet to slow down and redirect the flow of energy. Creating this kind of buffer gives incoming energy a chance to settle, reduces direct collisions, and helps maintain steady energy throughout the home. Second mistake, the stove placed in the center of the home. In home design, the center of the house is considered the energy hub, where all flows meet and distribute to other areas. This central point needs to be calm, quiet, and balanced to serve as the foundation for the home's overall rhythm. When the stove is placed at the center, this natural balance is disrupted quietly but continuously. The stove is an intensely active element. Heat, fire, odors, steam, and constant activity create continuous stimulation. When these forces occupy the energy center, there is no chance for the energy to settle. Instead, it keeps being stirred, moved, and scattered. This leads the entire home into a state of imbalance, even if the layout still looks neat and functional. From a Feng Shui perspective, the center of the home acts like a stabilizing core. If this core is placed under constant heat and movement, the pace of daily life becomes tense. People living in the house may feel consistently drained, unable to fully relax, even during rest. This lingering stress directly affects the ability to think clearly and stay steady in work and financial matters. Another important point is that a central stove causes surrounding areas to be affected by its heat and odor. The energy that spreads throughout the house carries that intensity, reducing the differentiation between spaces. When all areas of the house are driven by the same dynamic energy, functional zoning becomes blurred, making it hard to maintain order and long-term peace. In terms of wealth, the center of the house is like a storage vault for energy. When this vault is overheated or overstimulated, the ability to retain energy is weakened. This rarely shows up as an obvious loss, but instead as a persistent difficulty in keeping, maintaining, or building long-term resources. What you gain tends to slip away more easily without lasting impact. Third mistake, the stove placed where strong wind blows through. In home design, wind plays a key role in circulating air. But when strong, constant wind flows through the kitchen, the energy that should be preserved becomes disrupted. The kitchen generates heat and warm energy, which needs a certain level of stability to flow in an orderly manner. When wind rushes through the stove area, it carries away smoke, heat, and cooking vapors, pushing them all around the house uncontrollably. This chaotic airflow makes it difficult for energy to settle. Instead of flowing gradually, it gets pulled away suddenly, creating a feeling of instability. Over time, this condition makes the home environment feel heavy and uncomfortable, even when other elements are well arranged. In Feng Shui terms, strong crosswinds weaken energy retention. The moment energy forms, it is swept away, making accumulation impossible. This often leads to a sense of loss and uncertainty in daily life. Things happen quickly, but results are hard to hold on to and tend to disappear over time. Beyond the energy factor, placing the stove in a windy area can also affect health. The wind spreads smoke, heat, and cooking byproducts throughout the home, making the air less clean. Breathing in this air long-term can cause chest tightness, discomfort, and issues with respiratory or digestive health. And when physical health declines, it becomes harder to maintain the emotional balance needed for work and life. The proper setup is to avoid placing the stove directly opposite a window, back door, or any path where wind moves straight through. The kitchen should be shielded just enough to retain energy while still allowing proper ventilation. If you cannot change the position, consider using a partition, light curtain, or adjusting the airflow to slow down and soften the wind as it passes through the cooking area. Fourth mistake, the kitchen floor is higher than the living room. The living room represents yang energy. It is where people interact, connect, and receive from the outside world. This space should feel open, bright, and either level with or higher than other areas to reflect its role as the leading, outward-facing part of the home. When the kitchen floor is raised above the living room, this order is reversed. The kitchen carries more yin energy as it is tied to internal activities, nurturing, and support. When yin rises above yang, energy in the home becomes imbalanced. This shift does not cause immediate problems, but over time it shows up as tension and a lack of harmony in daily family life. Functionally, this height difference causes energy flow to be disrupted. As energy moves from the living room into the kitchen, it is pushed upward, creating a heavy, blocked feeling. This disturbs the natural circulation between rooms and weakens the sense of connection and balance in the home. In everyday living, this layout can make relationships more sensitive. Family members may become quicker to react, more argumentative, and less gentle in how they communicate. Small problems may easily turn into conflicts, especially in conversations about shared responsibilities or family goals. Over time, this can affect parenting, making it harder to maintain discipline and unity within the household. In addition, when the kitchen floor is higher than the living room, it also creates a subtle psychological discomfort. As you move from the living room into the kitchen, the change in elevation disrupts the natural rhythm of daily living. It can feel like you are stepping up into a more confined or pressured space. Even if this sensation is slight, repeating it every day will gradually affect the inner emotional state of the people living in the home. What I have shared here is not meant to make you feel anxious, but rather to help you take a more mindful look at your kitchen. When the small details are placed in their proper positions, the energy flow in your home will gradually become more balanced. Money will stop slipping away so easily, and the family atmosphere will gently settle into a more peaceful rhythm over time. Feng Shui is not about doing more. It is about doing it right and doing it consistently. If you realize that your kitchen needs some adjustments, start with the simplest changes first. Every small step contributes to preserving long-lasting abundance and peace for your family. Right now, you can write a comment like, "I choose to rearrange my kitchen to preserve the good energy of my home." And if you find these insights helpful, do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you can continue this journey with me. Together, we will explore more ways to protect your fortune, maintain your blessings, and create lasting stability in your everyday life.